Hey everyone. All right, we are back. Girl, messy hair, messy hair. Shout out to everybody that's back here. Um, Setting myself. Thank you, Annie, or Ann, excuse me, not Annie. Why did I see an I on your name? Thank you for posting that. We definitely gonna talk a little bit because this situation has me a little bit intrigued. And this is should be interesting what develops after this arrest and whatnot. But shout out to everybody that's coming through. I'm gonna give people some time to get in here so that we can really get into the weeds of this. Hey Bo, hey Tazzy, hey Shauna B, hey Taryn, welcome. Hey Nat, hey Ann, and who else do I see? Everybody come through. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Maybe I can't hear me, but you guys can hear me. Why can't I ever see a notification time on my phone when these are posted? Frustrating. Any suggestions? I don't know. It depends what kind of phone that you have. That might play a factor into this. Hey, Sushi Jezebel. Hey, Christy. Welcome. And Tazzy, I see everybody coming through. Um, Let me see what else. I let everybody know on Discord that I was live, live, live. So I wanted to have a chat about this case. Hey, Chico. All right, Chico's here. Good. Glad to see that. Um, Hold up, y'all. Okay. Making sure I get everything going on my phone. Alrighty, so we're gonna get started because um hmm, I don't know about this, but it seems to me, at least in my opinion, that I'm not really too surprised about the arrest. A lot of people had been talking about the potential arrest of Keefe D because of his conversations with Vlad TV and other sources. In 2018, he made a confession because I guess at the time he had cancer and whatnot. Okay. So here's the deal. I did a little digging and I went back to like what did he actually say when he made the what is it, proffer agreement. And for those that don't understand, Anne just put a great definition. Okay, so back in 2010, 2011, Keefe D had made a deal with Greg Kading, and I had put on my community wall, do y'all know who Greg Kading is? Like, do you think his theory was correct? He is an ex LAPD detective who's originally from Canada. Interesting. And he kind of got heavy into this case and decided to look into it a little bit more. So Greg Kading, former law enforcement, along with FBI, along with other LAPD people, got together and made a proffer agreement with Keefe D about what happened the night that Tupac was shot and all that other stuff, and in order to release some details. And what that agreement is it is a written contract between a federal prosecutor and a defendant or a person under criminal investigation, which the defendant agrees to provide the prosecutor with useful info. This was information that had been released back in like 2010, 2011 in these confession tapes. So I went back and I did a little search and I was able to pull those articles from the confession tapes, okay? And so that everybody understands, because this case has a lot of moving parts to it. It is a bit complicated. If you're, how do I say this? Like, if like I think for me, it's like I kind of lived in that era. I was in the sixth grade when Tupac was shot, and we knew that there was this West Coast, East Coast rivalry between the two, right? And that shit was getting really heavy. And I'm from Cali, so we saw a lot of that play out, especially when where I was, where I kind of grew up. I kind of understood what all of that was about. It was pretty heavy back then. So the death of Tupac and all of that that played out was a huge thing in that, in the community back then. So when this happened, a lot of people speculated that there was a lot of like gang related situation happening, but it was always presumed that there was a hit by Biggie's side or Puffy's side, or somebody's side ordered something for these two, Tupac and then Biggie, to have been gunned down. So it was a big thing back in that day, and it was a lot of mystery, and there's been a lot of controversy since. Like, there's controversy and conspiracies about the fact that Suge Knight wanted to hit Tupac, although Tupac was the one making the money for Death Row Records, and that was the other thing people didn't quite understand. I didn't quite understand the connection there with that. Although Suge Knight was a heavy hitter on his own, right? Um, that's that. But it's a lot of moving parts to this, and it's not like something that you could just sit down and explain right away. You have to really understand the various dynamics. That's as best as I can explain it. Okay, let's get into it. So I wanted to bring back, that's why I'm shocked that this is just now being prosecuted, right? But like they waited. Maybe they were investigating. So let's go right into this article that I found from the LA Weekly. Okay, and this was written back in 2011, October 2011. So I'm giving you guys some a little bit of like history. I mean, how many years is that? We're 2023, 2011. This history, right? So I wanted to talk a little bit about this article that basically said the Keffe D tapes, 10 highlights confessions from Keffe D, who says Sean Combs hired him to kill Tupac. Now, to be very clear, Keefe D never received any money from Sean Combs. Sean Combs has different aliases: P. Diddy, Sean Combs, Puffy Combs. What's another one? He's given himself a lot of like names. Diddy. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. he's he's done a lot. Thank you. Yeah, it's like back in 2011. So I was thinking, I said, had Puff Daddy, yeah, we did say Puff Daddy. If Keefe had not talked anymore and just kind of like this would have been the only confession, I don't know if there would have been a warrant issued earlier this year. I don't know what they would have found. I found out that Keefe D was holding to some of the bullets, some of the shell casings or bullets or whatever that were used at the night of the Tupac murder. So I found that to be very interesting that, like, why would you hold that to something like that? You know? It's just weird. I don't know. You know what though? But JLo ever co-appeared anywhere if they avoided each other, that may indicate JLo and Jada Pinkett Smith. Okay, so JLo, if y'all remember, JLo and Puffy, Diddy, Sean Combs, Puff Daddy, Brother Love, all these names, right? Um, they used to date. Y'all remember when JLo wore that like very like, exotic dress that was like the V-neck and you're like, "Damn, this like a little clip that was holding it down there." Yeah? And that was like the biggest thing back, the biggest scandal back in, I don't know, in the early 2000s that she wore that dress, right? She was dating Puffy back then. And they talked about the fact that there was an incident, I'll never forget, that JLo she never spoke about it directly, but people around her spoke about it. That she left Puffy Combs because of like he was just heavily involved in a lot of shit. And there was this like bar fight or something, and she somehow wasn't like got somehow mixed in there, and it involved somebody putting a hit on Diddy. Yeah, the Versace dress. Chel's like, Rabbit, get it together. It's the Versace dress. Sorry. Something. It's like the one that goes right here, and it had like a little pin that was holding it down there, and you're like, "Damn, girl, do your thing." The green one, the green one. Yes, yes, yes. Oh my God, Cash, I'm so sorry to hear that. Um, I'm sorry about that. We'll have to check in later on. Yeah, the Versace dress. Just like, yeah, it was the Versace dress. So they were dating, right? So something happened with them, like they just kind of broke up kinda weirdly, but I think he was, like, involved he's always been involved in some dark shit. P. Diddy has always been involved in some dark shit. There has been so much dark stuff that has followed that man for so many years, okay? I don't even know why people even do business with him, like, at all. I don't. So anyways, I think Diddy was, there's this rivalry going on. He's supporting Biggie back in that day and whatnot. But I don't know. I've always side-eyed. Diddy just always gave me a very weird vibe. The green scarf dress. Yes. Yeah. All right. So let's look into this article that was released back in 2011. And this is something that's still available. You guys can Google search it. But essentially, this is what was said, that there was a confession. Therefore, West Coast hip hop loyalists, the confession of interest is that Keefe D, who says Sean Diddy Combs offered him 1 million to kill Tupac and his manager Suge Knight. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. A 3-hour recording of Keefe D admissions lifted from the LAPD archives by ex-detective Greg Kading. So for those that were wondering, who the hell is this Greg Kading? Greg Kading went out and wrote a book about this. Even is it Keefe D even wrote a book about all of this, right? So a lot of this was just a little too much. Yeah, it happened at a club. Another artist got convicted, but she was arrested too at that time. That's right, Josie. Thank you. Thank you. They were moving dangerous, and I just came back from folks moving dangerous. I wasn't going, and if anyone hurt me, well, they're going to see a whole new side of me, right? Right. Um, yeah, so P. Diddy has a lot of names. For those that don't know, he does have a lot of names. Just keep that in mind. A lot of names. So there were these 3-hour confession tapes, okay? And it painted a colorful backstory of the events leading up to Tupac's murder. And so what this article did back in 2011 was just highlight 10 things that were just insane. So let's start with the first one. Said that cops had been following Keefe D for the last year, gathering enough evidence about the PCP ring he's been running to put him away for 25 years to life. Motivation for him to become an informant on Shakur's case. In this clip, Detective Kading and Keefe D establish a terms of agreement. So there's a dialogue between them where they, agree to speak to what the hell was going on. Yeah, you didn't know this, Jen? Yeah, this is Keefe D had been speaking for years. People just need to look up the articles. Like he had said, for those of us that kind of knew, like we knew that Keefe D's role in this was bigger, and the not LAPD, the Vegas PD had even said that Keefe D was the one that made the call. But the reason why Keefe D allegedly, if this is what he did, put the call out, was it because Diddy offered him to pay like 1,000, or excuse me, 1 million or whatever? And so this is where it leaves us. But there is like right now it's hearsay, right? Can they really convict? They don't have, Diddy as a murder suspect or anything. Can they really convict Diddy at this point? No. Oh, I know none of it. Right. SW. A lot of people didn't really know none of this. Yeah, Keefe also said that if he's going to jail, he's snitching on folks that unalive Biggie, which people are saying is Reggie Wright, right? So no, it was a million. It was it 10K? I thought it was 1 million. Wasn't it 1 million? 1 million for Tupac, right? Or 10K. Let me know, Chico. I could be wrong, but let me know. He's been very vocal about his role. He really has. He's been unleashing a lot. And Diddy did not pay. Diddy did not pay. So how are you even gonna, you know, get this information about this transaction? How are you even gonna make this like? How are you gonna paper trail this transaction at this point? But these are the confession tapes. Okay, so we're just gonna read the script a little bit. All right, and let me know what you guys think in the comments as we are reading some of this. And then we're going to look into Vlad TV, Vlad TV, because I swear, I think it was his platform that really ignited this. Although Vlad wants to say, well, Keefe D wrote a book. It didn't happen in my platform. I just used the book as a blueprint to guide the questions. I'm like, I don't know about that. But anyways, so Detective Kading asks, what about that whole shit about Tupac? Referring to a statement that the gangster gave to the FBI in 1997, saying he had nothing to do with the murder and guessing that Suge Knight may have killed Tupac for threatening to leave death row records. It wouldn't have surprised me, though, I'll be honest with you, if Suge Knight had threatened if Suge Knight had made that threat. It wouldn't have, because Suge Knight was doing the most with Death Row Records at that time. He really was. So it states, hold up, y'all. I don't want to lose my spot. Where'd it go? Here it is. No. Did I close the? I hope not. Hold up, y'all. Here it is. Um, Keefe D says, Oh, that was bullshit. Detective Kading says, okay, Keefe, today what we're going to do, we're going to go over with a fine tooth comb the Las Vegas incident. But we do have to emphasize to you that everything in this report has to be right on. Because if down the road it's determined that some of these details are incorrect, then everything's off the table. So everything in this report cannot be like that report. Keefe D says, like I said that day, don't bullshit me and I won't bullshit you. So prior to Keefe D making any type of profit or agreement, anything, Keefe D had said that Suge Knight had reason to kill Tupac. Okay, this was before any type of deal was made or anything like that. So this is what they're correcting themselves in and making sure that Keefe D wasn't going to bullshit everybody. Okay. So then Keefe D says, like I said that day, don't bullshit me and I won't bullshit you. So back then, so with that statement, Keefe D makes sure that detectives know who they are dealing with. Keefe D then asks, I'm a dangerous motherfucker without smoking weed, dude. I get mad easy. You know what I'm saying? There was an LAPD detective by the name of Dupree, and he says, we know, man. We know what you can do and can't do. A federal agent that was there says, how? That's how Detective Kading is without his coffee. So they're kind of joking, trying to like set the mood here. Keefe D says, keep me calm and keep me from hurting people, man. That's the statement that Keefe D made in these tapes. So then Keefe D describes the moment his nephew, Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, okay, and that allegedly is the gunman, okay. He was the gunman. He was killed years after, right? But allegedly he was the one. And that is Keefe D's nephew. So that we understand kind of like the relationships and who is what and all that other stuff. Yes. Yes. Diddy said in a room full of guys he would give $1 million for the hit. Yep. But ooh. Is that what okay. All right. But Diddy never paid. Plus Keefe lies a lot and stays relevant. Yeah, Keefe, I'm just gonna say this. He's not the sharpest tool. He's just I don't think he's very smart. Okay? Like I would have done this, profit or agreement and been gone. But the guy wanted to make money off of this. This is a money game. It was a money game when he was, doing the PCP sell, doing the running that ring. And now this has continued. The death of Tupac was a money game for him too. And continuing these rumors have always been money games. Let me tell you something. Not one of them. And again, this is 1996, 1995. Nobody's going to show you a receipt of any of this stuff, right? Like, let's be real. Yes, at one point he was. He was. Very good point. Hit 'em up almost buried Bad Boy Records. Yep. Hey everybody, hey everybody. It Diddy is something, man. I'm telling you. Excuse me. Diddy is something else. I mean, it's not anybody that I don't know how people can do business with Diddy, but hey, it is what it is. So, Detective Kading asks, so Orlando shot across Dre. Keefe D then responds, he leaned over and Orlando rolled down the window and popped him. If they would have drove on my side, I would have popped them, but they was on the other side. This is what Keefe D said straight out of his mouth. He said Orlando did it, but if he was on the other side, Keefe D would have popped him. Then the federal agent asked, where does Baby Lane, okay, remember, Baby Lane is Orlando. He goes by Orlando Baby Lane Anderson. Where does Baby Lane get the gun from? Keefe D responds, a little secret compartment that popped up. Federal agent asks, in the armrest? Keefe D responds, yes. Detective Kading, was it a Glock? Keefe D says, yeah. Detective Kading, 40? Keefe D responds, yeah. And I ain't ever told nobody that story, man. Yeah, right, Keefe D. You've been telling. Keefe D changed his story a couple times. This is why you got to take it with a grain of salt. Whatever the hell Keefe D ever put out here, anywhere, anywhere. Yes, yeah. Yeah, as wasn't it Vanilla Ice that was also was he threatened by Suge Knight too? Who was it? It was one of them. Vanilla Ice. Oh yeah, Diddy's always been shady. All right, let's keep going with the script. So Keefe D says he was introduced to Combs through another Crip named Zip, who was also in on the $1 million deal. However, Keefe D adds that he personally got on Combs' good side by lending him his car to use in Usher's first music video. And we have this is crazy because this is like Usher's very first music video. It's like Usher the Kid, and he's on top of this like Chevy 64 Chevy, and Usher's on the hood of it and it's brown, and we'll be able to see some of that here in a little bit. It's very interesting. It was Vanilla Ice. He dangled him over the balcony. That's why I said it was Suge Knight. Suge Knight was the one that dangled Vanilla Ice over the balcony. Oh man, I shouldn't be laughing, but you know, I don't know. Mm, thank you, SW. I'm trying to rock the messy bun today. Um, no, no, that Suge that threatened him. He dangled him from a balcony and made him sign over the royalties to us. Yes, yes, he did. Thank you. Thank you. They look at Chico. She's like, look, made him sign the royalties. That's what I thought. It's like he dangled him. It's like not funny, but I'm like I'm just like, oh my God, he really did sign his royalties, you know? Oh no, no, I said Suge. Diddy can't dangle anybody. I mean, I look at Diddy, to me, he's not very strong, but he Armstrongs people. He hires people. He does things, very shady shit, very, very, very shady shit. That's why I'm like, I don't know about Diddy. But that's what he does. He waves people. He has money, He does what people with money do sometimes. Armstrong people. Okay, so the Keefe D says we met the boy Combs at the he gave a BET party or a BET Awards. It's like 92 or 93 at the club on Santa Monica, and Mary J was there, and the tall dude used to have the dreads. He's with Aftermath now. What's his name? Federal agent responds, Busta Rhymes. Keefe D responds, Busta Rhymes. Me and him almost got into a fight. I was suited. He thought he was all big and shit, we going to beat the fuck out of that boy. He threw his drink on me, and I was like, motherfucker, yeah, that's the first day I met Puff Combs. And after that, they used my car in the video. Detective Dupree asks, which car was that? Keefe D responds, a 64 Chevy I had. Detective Dupree, what color was it? Keefe D responds, brown. Usher. He had Usher. It was Usher's video, and Puff Combs was driving the car. You remember the song? Keefe D responds, can I get with it? That was his first song ever, Usher's first song ever. He was in a Lakers uniform and Combs had the little kid dancing on the car. When I got when I got it back, it was fucked up and he paid to get it repainted. He sent me 2,500 for that. Lord, I'm gonna have to mute this music because we are not trying to get copywritten. But let me show you. This is there's Usher in that Lakers. Okay. There's Usher in that Lakers look. You see Diddy's in this Chevy right there. Okay. There's Usher's. He's wearing that Lakers freaking jersey. There it is. He's a very young kid back then. I think he was like 14. There he is on top of that hood. Details, details, right there. Right there. Oh yeah, Puffy was mentoring Usher. I mean, all of these people, man. And then Usher mentors, what the hell is his name? Justin Bieber? The parrot shoe pants, all of 'em. I mean, this was back it's a long, long time ago, 92, 93. So back then, this is the car that Keefe was saying that was his car, and that he received 2,500 because Usher kind of messed it up. Ooh, hell, even Usher admitted that Diddy turned on him. Really, Chico? I'd have to see that. He was just a teenager back then. He was. He was. I mean, you could see. Hold up. See, this is him on top of the car. There's the Chevy. For those that want, I can't play the music video, but this gives you an idea. So investigators asked Keefe D when the animosity between Bad Boy Entertainment and Death Row Records first began to fester at these confession tapes. Detective Dupree says, "Did Puffy have a place out here in Los Angeles?" Keefe D responds, "He used to stay if Suge was out of here. He was scared shitless." So this is what I'm saying. I'm like, Puff Daddy, Diddy Combs never really scared anybody. It was the fact that he like would hire people, right? People, I don't know. He just never really gave that impression that he hires people. That's what he does, to intimidate other people. Give me one sec, guys. Hold up. I got somebody at my door. All right. Sorry about that. I had somebody at my door. Um, oh God, this is how he caught the herps. He said, hence how he caught the herps. Let me see what you guys are saying. Hell, Usher even admitted, did he turn on him? I remember this. Yes, yes. Okay. So this is just a little bit of that interaction. And let me go into this right here. Did Puffy have a place out here in Los Angeles? He was scared. He says that he did, but he was scared of Suge. So then Detective Dupree asked, so the beef had started by then? Keefe D says, no, it started when they went out to that award show. The award show. Okay. By Keefe D's account, Zip Combs and himself discussed the hit on Shakur once at a concert in Anaheim and a couple of times at the Greenblatt's Deli on the Sunset Strip. Detective Kading then asked, tell us what happened that made it something other than just him frustrated and boasting. Like, man, I'll give you guys anything. And what made it specific? Like, hey, I'm serious. I want you guys to kill these guys. Keefe D response. When he told me at Greenblatt's, Detective Kading asked, how'd that go? Like, what was the conversation? Federal agent asked, who and who's he? Keefe D responds, Puff, referencing Puff Daddy, Diddy, Puffy Combs, right? Detective Kading then asks, how'd the conversation go? We really need specific details regarding that. That's the thing about what's his name? Keefe D. Like he never really gave really like a lot of specifics. I don't to me in certain interviews, he was always very vague and then he'd get into it. Like always very vague and then get into it. It was a little too much. Sometimes it's like he lies too much. You couldn't really believe everything that he said. I mean, he initially lied about Suge wanting to put a hit on Tupac. I don't think that was the case. I mean, Suge was a lot of things, but I don't think he ever really said, "Hey, put a hit on." He would put on a hit on the man that was making him the money. I'm just saying. So, Detective Katie says, "How's the conversation go? We really need specific details on that." Keefe D then says, "We wanted a million." Detective Katie asks, "All right, so you meet him at Greenblatt's for lunch or dinner or what?" Detective Kading is having to pull these details. Like, this is too much, right? So I don't know how much of this was like trying to put the puzzle pieces together for Keefe or just Keefe just saying what the hell it is. Because he's not giving a whole lot of details at this point. But he is and he isn't. So Keefe D says this was dinner in the evening. Detective Katie then asks, who else was there? Keefe D says, all of us, Corey, everybody, all our crew. Detective Katie then asks, everybody's hearing this conversation between you and Puff? Keefe D says, he was talking to me. When we got there, we was laughing at him because he was with this broad that sucked peen and sucked every peen in there, and he's all held up kissing with her. We was laughing like a motherfucker. He's like, "Man, what are you laughing at, dog? Man, don't just come out here and get any broad, dog." He took me downstairs and he's like, "Man, I want to get rid of them dudes." Man, I was like, "Well, wipe their asses out quick, man. It's nothing." Ooh wee. Let me see what you guys are. I bet the Italian mob didn't want to mess with those boys, said Anne. Probably. Diddy has the money to get out of trouble. Evil guy. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Um, everybody come through. Hey, Callie. Welcome, welcome, welcome for those that are coming in. So we're just reviewing a little bit of the 2011 transcripts. Well, more so what they pulled because we don't have the legit transcripts. I would love to see some of this. If there's ever a trial, it'd be great. I don't know. Just saying. Money sadly gets people into a lot of trouble. Follow the money always. You always have to follow the money when it comes to this situation, right? So the motivation behind Combs' alleged order to kill Knight and Suge, says Keefe D, was fear that the other side would strike first. Isn't that I like crazy? It's always the fear that somebody was going to strike first. And that's why the order went through according to Keefe D. Detective Dupree says when Combs asked about Shakur and Knight, would he always say both of them? Keefe D response. He added the boy Shakur on after he made a record. Detective Dupree then asked, before that, was it just Suge? And then after Hit 'em Up came out, Keefe D says, yeah, that pissed Combs off. And this was that hit record that Pac did. So Keefe D says he's known Suge Knight since childhood. This is the crazy part. Suge Knight and Keefe D knew each other from like elementary school years, right? They knew each other. They knew each other um, many years. So to kind of see this go down, this was just you know, pretty off. So Keefe D says he's known Suge since childhood, growing up on the streets of Compton. So when Keefe D first started hanging out with Combs, he says that Death Row boss kept badgering him like, "How you meet them guys? Same way I met you, motherfucker." He remembers answering, aka the drug trade, making the moment they locked eyes during the 1996 shooting even more dramatic. Keefe then says he came up to Harmon, got to Las Vegas Boulevard and shit. Here he comes in that BMW. Broad's like, Tupac, Tupac. And we were like, there they go. Made a U-turn. We wasn't supposed to make a U-turn. And then they was in the middle lane. And we just pulled up on the side and checked every car to see where they was. Detective Kading asks. So Lane starts blasting and Suge looks over and sees you. Keefe D says, yeah. Detective Kading asks, he looks right at you. Keefe D responds, yeah, he looked at me. We've known each other ever since we was 7 or 8 years old. Detective Kading says he looks over at you and then Tupac's busy getting shot. Story is Tupac either trying to get out of the way. Keefe D responds, he's in the back seat or something. And it's believed back then that Tupac tried to miss the bullets by going to the back seat, like hiding from them or dodging them that way. My thing is though, and I'm gonna stop right here. If if um if they locked eyes, Suge Knight and Keefe D, they locked eyes, right? Suge Knight never. I don't. And Chico, you can remind me on this one, but did they? Is Suge Knight ever really revealed? Never really said a name. He never really said Keefe D's name that I remember correctly. Yes, thank you. He just thought he knew something though. Didn't think he had anything to do with it. He thought Suge had the hand in it. Puffy, which he most likely did. And the LAPD says Jared. Thank you, Jared. But they had to have like he said they locked eyes. I mean, because I know that there was a bullet that like hit or grazed or scraped Suge Knight's head. He wasn't really hit, right? No, he never said a name, but he hinted at it. Yeah, so Suge Knight always knew, but he never said a name. this probably could have been solved a long time ago, but they never. They wasn't gonna say anything. Hey, Vietnamese style. Thank you for coming through. He never said anything. So that's the thing, because he said they knew each other from like grade school, right? Realize, realize, realize. Whew, says a lot, right? And that's no lie. So they look at each other. I guess they locked in eyes. This was a pretty dramatic more, moment when all of this was going down. So they knew each other from they were 7 or 8 years old. He looks at you, and then Tupac's busy getting shot. Keefe then responds, he's in the back seat. So Detective Kading asks, "What did you see happening?" Keefe D responds, "I see the bullet go into Suge's head. I thought he was dead. I thought he was dead. It must have scraped him or something in the head or something. I thought he was dead." Most ironically, Keefe D says he never got the money from Combs had allegedly offered him. Word on the street, according to Keefe D, is that Combs gave half of the reward to Zip, seeing as Suge Knight was still alive, and Zip never related back to its rightful owner. This might have been the faithful mistake that led to Keefe D's confession. But here's the deal. Here's the other side to this. I'm just playing devil's advocate. Let's just say, can you truly believe everything that Keefe D has said? You can't. So say that he let's just say that he implicated Diddy Combs, okay? Diddy never paid him, right? Never paid him. But why would Diddy keep him alive? Like, aren't you a liability? Like, why would he keep Keefe D alive for so many years? Why keep him alive? Combs could have hired somebody. I mean, the guy was involved in a huge PCP ring, like for so many years. Anybody could have been like, yeah, but why keep him alive? I don't that's the part that I can't this is the part that I struggle with when it comes to this theory that Detective Kading has said and put out there that somehow Diddy was connected because Diddy has done a lot of crazy shit in the industry. So why would he keep Keefe D alive? That's what I can't answer. Because Keefe had other connections that Diddy was literally scared of. Really? So it would have been convenient for him to have stayed alive, just keep him alive, even though he's talking, he's interviewing. This guy didn't give a shit. He said a lot. He has said a lot. So Detective Kading then asked, "Since you've been out of prison, have you talked to Zip?" KVD's response, "Not one time." Detective Kading asked, "What about Puffy?" KVD responds, "Not one time. I tried to call them several times though. If he would have just given us half the money, I would have stayed strong." And that was that. And this was published by the LA Weekly in 2011. So right now, it seems to me that, you know, he did all that, okay, but he shot himself in the foot eventually because I don't think he really thought that people were going to be arresting or looking for people anymore. And then here comes this interview with Vlad TV, which Vlad, I want to say, who was the other people that were, I can't remember what their names were, but there have been others that have implicated themselves in crimes while doing interviews on Vlad TV and then have found themselves arrested, indicted, yada, yada, yada. The feds are coming down. I'm like, why do people keep like, why are people doing that? This you're going in there. He could have left it at the agreement in 2011 and let it be, and that would have been his confession. It would have been like, you know what? Um, I might have I did the hit because I was promised $1 million. Is there an actual receipt of this? Is there evidence of this? No, at this point it's hearsay, right? It was actually Diddy folks that shot Pac the first time. They was yep, yep, yep. Diddy was the shadows of Biggie's until they went down. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. Hands down, one of the best concerts I ever went to. Up in Smoke concert with Eminem, Snoop, and Ever. It was awesome. 170 stitches in here. Uh, snitches in here, and that's a lot of snitches in a room, says Homie Tube. Why you hate Ryan? Oh Lord, can somebody block the thank you, Chico. I'm like, why the hell are you here? Um, it's actually wasn't Diddy folks that shot Pac the first time. Yeah, we said that. Okay. So I want to talk about this Vlad TV. Yeah, I'm not gonna play Vlad stuff because Vlad is notorious for getting people down on their content. But I guess Vlad did an interview on Bombs First, and this is through Facebook. I'm gonna do this under fair use. Let me hit play on this.
There is apparently a grand jury that are interviewing people as we speak.
Yeah.
What was your reaction when you heard about him, about them raiding his house?
I mean,
By the way, Keefe D's house was raided, I believe, in June or July of this year. June or July of this year for sure. And this is where they allegedly, I'm not really sure on the details of this, but it was said that like that Keefe D had been keeping bullet shell casings and bullets from the night of the Tupac murder. So I don't know, like I said, is this supposed to be when I heard that, I said that makes it sound like Keefe D had like some kind of a trophy or some shit like that, you know? It's just weird.
I think everyone was surprised. Like the case is 27 years old. The proffer agreement happened years ago. There's been multiple documentaries about it. They're going to do it now. Okay. The question is whether it's going to be like a real prosecution or whether they're just going to, hey, listen, just plead out to something slight. And
Y'all think that there's going to be a real prosecution if these investigators have invested what 27 so many years into the investigation? I mean, do you guys think they're going to throw him the book or make him a deal? What do you guys think is going to happen?
So we could just close the case. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Have they reached out to you about any of your footage?
I'm gonna give you the exclusive on this. They actually have tried. I've gotten a bunch of phone calls and emails and stuff like that, but I'm not cooperating with this.
Okay. Do you think it's? I mean, I'm assuming they can access the interview on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming what they want is the uncut version. Right?
Correct.
Okay. Just to see if there was anything talked about.
Correct. Yeah, but my thing, and I've always held this stance when it comes to people that interview on my platform. I'm not going to have you come to my platform and do an interview only to then work against you.
Yeah.
Bullshit. I don't believe Vlad TV whatsoever. I'm just saying.
With the police, regardless of what people think that I really do, the reality of what I do. And I've had to do this before. I remember this one time they tried to seize this one interview of someone who asked me to take it down like the next day because they were fighting a case at the time. Their lawyer asked me to take it down. They then wanted to get the footage from me, and I said no. And they were like, well, we're going to put you on stand, whatever. We're going to subpoena you. Like, all right, I'm lawyering up then. So my lawyer got involved, and they weren't able to get it. And, ultimately the guy ended up losing his case anyways, but we weren't involved in it. So if you interview on my platform, if the police then try to approach me on it, I'm always going to say no.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? I don't know. I'm just saying. Pac had dissed some folks in the New York area. That's why they got a shot first time. But the second time was well coordinated, even with police. Yep. For sure. Pac was a genius with his music. It had to be hard to get away from this ish. Right. Yeah.
So I haven't even responded. And I'm sure the police are going to watch this and now see why.
Yeah.
But that's my stance. I'm not responding. I'm not cooperating. If you want to try to subpoena whatever, I will get a lawyer and I will fight it. And from what I understand, even in the language they use, I don't think that they can. And but I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to get the raw footage, thinking there might be something that was said that we didn't release. But honestly, if you know what I do, literally almost every second of the footage has been released.
Okay.
Unless the person coughs or says, "Oh, let me go get a drink of water. Let me go to the bathroom." Like we're into the quantity of footage, so we try to get every second of footage and try to release it whenever possible. So they're really barking up the wrong tree. If that's
I don't know, you guys. I don't know. Vlad probably makes deals with the cops. That's what people have been saying. People have been saying that a lot. But it was Vlad's interview that people have said that it was what led to where Keefe is at right now. Now, mind you, of course, Keefe led to where we're at right now. It was his actions that led us to where we're at right now. But let's watch this because Mel does a review on another creator that basically says that, Vlad, speaking on Vlad, and this interview specifically could have really done it for Keefe D.
He told Los Angeles Police Department task force in 2008 that his nephew Orlando thing, but just enough for us to understand this whole proffer thing. Okay. And this video that this guy did, Poetic Flacco, this was like a month ago. So like people that have been following this story, they were like, this guy's going down. This guy's going down. Keefe D is facing life in prison for making this statement on Vlad TV, which we're going to listen to in a second. We got about 10 minutes.
You give information in exchange for we can't use the information you gave us at this particular moment against you. But I'm just a blogger who's a little illiterate. So let me just have a seasoned detective break down what a proffer agreement is to you guys.
Can you tell me the differences in a proffer agreement, immunity, and queen for a day?
And I think this bomb list is another channel, I believe.
Proffer agreement is not immunity. People get this confused. There's no immunity in a proffer agreement. All a proffer agreement is that information that you provide that is self-incriminating cannot be used against you. It's like, you know, it's a constitutional right against self-incrimination.
And by the way, this is Greg Kading. For those that are wondering, this is the detective.
So we offer this certain times, you know, during law enforcement investigations. We'll say, listen, if you'll sit down and answer our questions and be honest about responding to our questions, we won't use your information against you. We'll use your information to prosecute other people. And if other people provide information that we can use against you, we most certainly will. We just won't use your own self-incriminating statements and get you. That's a proffer agreement. Immunity is different. Immunity means you can't prosecute them. A proffer session means we can't use your statements, but we can still prosecute you if we get other information.
So that's like a really, really good explanation. People believe that this guy in this interview with Vlad, which we're going to find out maybe what it was, you know, he's talking about the case, this guy, Keefe D, about what happened, and I guess maybe they used it against him. They also did a search of his house, which we'll talk about in a second.
A proffer agreement isn't a get out of jail free card. As a matter of fact, I can argue a proffer agreement is a get into jail card. Honestly, think about it. What do you think is going to happen if you walk into a police department, give a confession regarding your role in a murder? You think you leave that police department because you gave a proffer and they can't use those confessions you gave to them against you? That the police is just going to let you get away scotch-free, away with murder? Or do you think that your confession makes them more motivated to get you because they know now you're 100%?
And some people believe that this guy, which I think one of the articles referenced that he's charged with murder, but they're supposed to be announcing the charges at this press conference. Some people believe that it was actually Keefe D that shot the gun.
And guilty. A proffer don't protect your words. It only protects the statements you gave to the police in that moment. So if you leave that confession or that interrogation and go elsewhere and give a statement to somebody else admitting to your involvement in a particular crime, the police can use the statements you gave to somebody else against you and still indict you and prosecute you. And that's the fate that Keefe D is currently suffering.
Now at 10:30.
So
I love that breakdown. And for those, I found this really great. And thank you, Chico. Yeah, whatever you can send me. I want to go here to Reddit real quick because I think for those that can't really follow the story because it's very complicated and there's only bits and pieces. Like Chico said, there's people only know bits and pieces of it, but there's so many moving parts to it. I really like what this person wrote on Reddit. Let me see. I said, it's official. Keefe D, Orlando Anderson's uncle, confessed everything. He explained step by step what really happened in Las Vegas on the night of September 7th, 1996. Here's what happened. Tupac, Suge Knight, and a few of his friends went to Las Vegas to see the Mike Tyson fight. After the fight, a death row member named Trayvon Lane saw Orlando Anderson chilling a few meters away from him. Orlando Anderson robbed Trayvon Lane in the past and stole his death row chain, which that has also been documented in other documentaries and whatnot. Trayvon Lane told Tupac then, and Tupac rushed to Orlando and the fight broke out. The death row member were stomping Orlando's head while he was laying on the ground. That footage is everywhere. We've seen that as well. A security man managed to stop the fight after 15 seconds. Tupac, Suge Knight, and the rest of the crew rushed directly to get out of the building. Then they went to Suge's apartment in Vegas to change clothes. Meanwhile, Orlando Anderson's homie heard about what happened. Keefe D, Orlando's uncle, Zip, Andre Dre Smith, Orlando Anderson, those were the passengers of the white Cadillac. They knew that Tupac planned a performance in Club 662 after the Mike Tyson fight. So they went to Club 662 at the same time Tupac was still at Suge's apartment to change clothes. They waited 15 to 20 minutes, but Tupac didn't appear, so they drove back to get something to eat. At the same time, Tupac was driving in his BMW on the other side of the street. They recognized him because girls were screaming his name and loud music was coming from the BMW. So they made a quick U turn. The BMW came to stop because of a red traffic light. The Cadillac stopped next to him. Keefe D handed the gun to Orlando, even though he said in the confessions that there was like a prop thing. But Keefe D handed the gun to Orlando Anderson. Orlando leaned out of the window and started shooting rapidly. Tupac tried to get on the back seat. This, I think, is the best explanation of events that I was like, bam, 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 bam. Suge Knight and Keefe D locked eyes because they knew each other from childhood. I think Suge Knight knew all along who did the hit, who did all of that, but didn't really say a whole lot. But yeah, this is how it went down. It's a lot, right? A lot of moving parts. If there's anything that you take from this whole live is this very last part where we kind of explain everything. And so then for many, many years, Keefe D, in my opinion, has profited from telling lies to telling half truths to telling some truths. I wouldn't put that man on a lie detector because nothing that he says would be admissible at this point. But I think he knows exactly what happened. And maybe when he meets the maker, he'll be able to say what really happened. They said for all this time that Suge had something to do with it. Yeah, but see, what's his name? Keefe D was the one who said it. Before the confession tapes, Keefe D was the one that told the FBI that Suge Knight had put a hit on Tupac, that it was Suge Knight when he knew that that wasn't the case. This is why I say you can never really believe anything that Keefe D says. You can't. These people have profited out of lying out of what really happened that night. That's what it is. Written books, done interviews, exclusives, various podcasts, Vlad TV, everybody. I'm just saying. I mean, I hope that there's justice for Tupac, and it's unfortunate that it's taking this long. And now my thing is are we gonna find out what happened to Biggie too? Who put the hit on Biggie? Is Reggie Wright gonna have something to say about that too? Because according to Keefe D, if you take anything that he says with word, Reggie Wright has something about, Biggie at this point. Thank you, Miss Amber. Um, I don't know. This might change things, but I try just to cover it and make it a little bit more understandable. But people have to go back to the 2011 confessions to really pull from that, and then from there, kind of put things together. It's a very complicated story, but like Chico said, there's so many little parts, pieces are like putting it together. Keefe said if he's going to jail, then so should Biggie's killer, and he pointed Reggie Wright to that one. So I just hope that there's justice to the death of these two artists, both of them, not just one, both of them, and then, yeah, I always thought it was Orlando or Keefe D and all along. Yeah, I mean, at this point, you could have said it's both because that's his nephew and he was there. The thing is you can't take the fact that Keefe D was there when the shooting happened. Orlando was there. Dre was there. People were there, right? People saw it and they knew it and they tried to hide it, but they knew what was going on. In my opinion, he was the actual chance at change in his community, and they didn't like how that made him feel. So, yeah, it's true. Very, very true. All right, guys. So I am going to let you guys go because I got to go tend to baby bunny. But let me know your thoughts. If y'all have questions, just put them in the chat if you're watching the replay about like, wait a minute, who's this character? What is this? Who plays what? Again, Greg Kading is the detective that wrote the book Murder Raps, and he's the one that obtained these confessions from Keefe D. So he plays a very big role in this as well. This is why it's important to know who Greg Kading is. You'll watch a lot. There's a lot of interviews. Vlad did an interview with him, a lot of interviews with Greg Kading. But I think he has a theory, and I think he's been spending a lot of time trying to prove his theory. I think there's a chance that his theory might be correct. I think that this is bigger. I think Puffy Combs had something to do with this. I truly do. Allegedly, in my opinion, Diddy, and there's probably people out there that know that could probably assist in this too, but who knows? At this point, who knows? Anyways, I'll see you guys on the next one. You guys have a great day, and rabbits out, guys. Bye.